What it do, peeps? It's the Beat Chef. Watch the damn tape. Hit that like, that share, that subscribe button. Hit that bell to get notified when I drop my next video. New subscribers, I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy the show and I hope you get something from the content. To my old subscribers, my day ones, thank you for helping me continue to build this platform and push this WNBA conversation. Bargaining talk seem like it's going to be a weekly thing, and it is going to be a weekly thing. Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart. Hit dogs holler, and they got hit, and they got exposed. Even though to me the information's old, the news is old, more and more people are coming into the WNBA space, and they're getting familiar with the players. And with that being said, the players are reacting to all the new people coming in, and Napheesa Collier is no exception. Lady tweets to some bloggers. Shout out to Ben Daniels, Rhodes Rants, who runs Black and White Sports, and Rachel Demita. They all got platforms on YouTube. They all cover the WNBA and a bunch of other sports. Shout out to them. She sent her message to them directly. She did not speak to Napheesa Collier. Napheesa Collier responded to it. I told you folks, these players in this particular league live on social media. Napheesa Collier even responding, small things to a giant. Any other player wouldn't even responded. The response lets me know that it was Napheesa Collier. It was not a bot. It was not a handler of her social media accounts. It was her. So let's take a look at what was said. Now, her even acknowledging it was a loss. The minute she acknowledged the statement was a loss. What she said was dirt ignorant. You should be enjoying fireworks instead of worrying about me and Breanna. That's the reason why I said Jive Turkey. They work for Jive Turkey, and they run Shuck and Jive. Shuck and Jive is unrivaled. Shuck and Jive is got the same exact recipe. They serve the same thing, just slightly different. Jive Turkey sell a 5-piece. Shuck and Jive sell a 3-piece for now. So it is a conflict of interest because Jive Turkey has a union, and you work for the union, and you work for 156 employees at Jive Turkey. And you're representing them, and you're trying to get a new contract with corporate. But meanwhile, you got Shuck and Jive over here frying some chicken. Don't quite taste the same as Jive Turkey, but Shuck and Jive got this 3-piece. They've been marketing this 3-piece. They got all these investors, got all these rich celebrities, Coco Gauff, you name it. They got all these people. So everybody's like, wow, they must be doing something over there selling them 3-piece tender strip meals. Gotta be doing something. So yes, a lockout, a strike, whatever you want to call it, would benefit Shuck and Jive. It would benefit them. You know that. That's why it's hard for you to bargain in good faith. Just my opinion. The reason why the messaging is so cloudy with this players association, I believe within internally they're split into factions. In the players association, you have a Yukon contingent, and that's Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier. And then you have a Asia Wilson camp. And then you might just have some outliers. There might just be union reps, not any affiliated with any group. That's how women are. Women are petty. That's the reason why the messaging has been so varied. That's the reason why Sophie Cunningham and Elizabeth Williams had a prepared statement that was terrible. But then Sophie Cunningham, a couple days later, went off script and dissed Detroit and Cleveland. That's the reason why T.U.S.S.L.E went off script and dissed expansion. It's a reason. That's because they're all in different camps. They're all getting different messaging because there's not one person that is the mouthpiece for the Players Association like it should be. Them bargaining publicly tells me they're losing the battle. If you just got your first proposal and your counter is going to get rejected. You're not going to, no bargaining is going to, oh, that first deal was great. Oh, it's fantastic. Let me just take it. No. They know that, or they should know that. They should know that. But this was a bad look. Breanna Stewart didn't help matters with her comments. I mean, she said, I mean, good Lord. I mean, it was the worst thing. She said, absolutely frustrated at a shooter. And this was just on July 3rd. Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting to hear that yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They kind of just ignored everything we said. Collier and Stewart told ESPN their work for Unrivaled and the Players Association does not create a conflict of interest, but instead helps highlight areas that need improvement. It's not a conflict yet, Stewart told ESPN. I told you guys last week, they talk way too much. They're not used to being in front of a camera. They're not used to getting asked questions. And when they get asked questions, their answers, they just run off at the mouth. I think it's just a little bit different. The things we can take from Unrivaled are the TV deal and how huge and incredible that was, but also the numbers behind it. Like having 3 games per week, that was a lie. In Unrivaled, they played 2 times a week. 2 times a week. People were constantly paying attention to it. That's another lie. An Unrivaled, their peak was the 1v1 tournament. Their daily totals were subpar. Whether it's Fee or me, someone else at Unrivaled, we understand that's the standard now, and that's what we expect when we come back to the W. They want the perks that they offered that haven't been verified. At Unrivaled, players were paid an average of $220,000, provided health care and a multi-year television deal with Turner. Players also got equity in the league. We don't know any of that. See, the game they're running, that's why I call their company Shuck and Jive Chicken. Because they're shucking and jiving over there. They're running their model the exact same way the league is running. They haven't opened their books at Unrivaled. All we know is they got an influx of cash, about $35 million or so, and that they almost broke even. They never told us what almost broke even meant. They played in one location. They played in Miami in a venue that only held 950 people. The camera shots were so tight on Unrivaled you couldn't hardly see the crowd. Half the arena was blocked in. The arena wasn't even an arena. It was actually a warehouse. If you Google the arena, whatever it was called, Wayfair Arena, it's actually a warehouse inside like of a movie lot, and they reshaped it to make it like an arena. So it's just it's a super small venue. I've been in high school gyms bigger than Unrivaled. So they played in one location in Miami. They didn't play 3 games a week, so Breanna's lying. The crazy thing about this whole thing, the commissioner of the WNBA went to Unrivaled and sat in on some games. Because they played 2 games a night on Unrivaled. She sat, and when she sat, I was like, that's not good for them in this contract. They just opted out of a contract. and they're going to try to use this business model to bring it forward to the WNBA. They only had 36 players. 36 players in Unrivaled. 20% of those players were UConn alum. The league knows that. The league has all the details. The league knows how much revenue each team's making. They know how much attendance is going on. They know who the driver of the WNBA is, or as we call it, Jive Turkey. Jive Turkey knows what they got. Unrivaled, aka Shuck and Jive, has to pull the wool, talk in circles. No player in Unrivaled has came out and said that $220,000, that they got that $220,000. The part-time players that came in, like Benaji Laney Hamilton, she came in for a couple games. I know she didn't get $220,000 for 5 games, and she blew her knee out. I know she didn't. I know Natisha Heidemann didn't get $220,000, and she was a relief player. She played on at least 4 teams in Unrivaled. There was bodies dropping like crazy in Unrivaled. The league, Jive Turkey WNBA, has so much ammo on Unrivaled. If they want to make it to where, okay, we'll give you the money, you got to give up your outside interests. No more going abroad to go play in the off season. Your off season must consist of playing here. If they want to, if the WNBA really, really, truly wanted to, they could make Unrivaled become solely a training camp league to bridge the gap between the off season and when the spring comes and the new players come. When the new players come, they go to Unrivaled, they play the last few weeks. That becomes a sort of training camp, a pre-training camp before training camp actually starts in May. That's what Unrivaled will end up being if they mess around and try to flex muscle against the league. Jive Turkey will destroy Shuck and Jive. But Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier are running a con game. They know damn well what they're doing, and they know it's a conflict of interest. They've pretty much said it out of their own mouths that it's a conflict of interest. That's why it was so hard for them to get players to go to Unrivaled. That's why Kelsey Plum bowed out. That's why Asia Wilson wanted no parts of it. Caitlin Clark wanted no parts of Unrivaled. No matter how much money they threw at either one of those ladies, neither one of them took the money. They had to get Sabrina Ionescu to get into Unrivaled on a deal where she had the freedom to leave when she wanted to, and she did. This is a bad look when you're negotiating and you're trying to use your small company to go at a larger company. It's even a bad look for the players. The players should be looking at Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier with a side eye for having this chicken shack over here, and you're trying to use this 3-strip meal crap to bargain for our 5-strip at Jive Turkey. Jive Turkey doesn't have to make a move, aka the WNBA Jive Turkey. Jive Turkey can sit there because it's on the players to prove their value to the league. It's not the league's job to say, hey, you're so valuable to us. Every player, I've said it time and time again, every player in the WNBA can be replaced outside of Caitlin Clark. Every player. The league knows that. They know Caitlin Clark is the biggest draw in the game. They know that. The players don't want to accept that, and they keep playing this con game especially primarily with Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart. It was in poor taste. Napheesa Collier should never had commented on that post. Never. She should never have acknowledged that post. Acknowledging that post was a big miscue on her part. Huge. Another in a long line of bad mistakes in bargaining that these players continually make week in and week out. But let me know your thoughts about Jive Turkey and Shuck and Jive, and who do you think is going to come out on top? I'm still leaning towards Jive Turkey getting this win. Jive Turkey, aka the WNBA. Until next time, folks, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.